Welcome to You and Me Ranch, guys. We're moving sheep today. We're going from the west pasture, where we only have trees along the perimeter, over to the north side. We got nice trees over here and some really good grass. The sheep are going to love it. So we'll try to spend as much time as we can here, but we still got to move the sheep every day to every other day. When we're in this area, we pretty much usually move them every single day. But they're really going to enjoy it. We can pretty much put our fence around one or two big trees, and they have shade all day. And come along and check it out. Got Birdie out there pretending she's a coyote. Good girl. Hi, Ricky. You keeping everybody in line out here? All right. He's going to come in real handy this winter time. This November, he's going to be busy. I think the plan will be we're going to send Ricky in with the majority of the ewes. And we might pick a couple or pick a few for Chico there. He did a really good job for us last year. So we want to introduce some new genetics. So we want the Australian white genetics that Ricky has. So we just came from the west side of the pasture over here, came along the north. This is our last spot before we cross over the drive. And now we're back kind of in the north middle part of the property. And this is the west side of our pasture. And this is where we ran the sheep through. I weed whacked a little trail back there for the fence, and that was so that the sheep could have some extra forage with the leaves, and so that they would have some shade, because we had some really hot weather. We have a lot of ticks around here, so I don't really like to go back there too much in the summer because of that. But if you put some bug spray on and wear a hoodie, you don't really get any on you, as long as you got some bug spray. But so here was their next paddock, and our property line goes halfway back to these woods. There's actually in certain areas there's still some barbed wire up back there, so there's barbed wire running halfway back. But now that we got all this cleared out, man, it looks different. So different. It's pretty neat. So then here was their third paddock back here. And look at this. This is our little natural orchard here. These are all just persimmon trees, and these are really prolific here. But they didn't really touch the trees, but they sure did clear the grass out. And look at that tree line. I'm so impressed with these hair sheep. We originally were going to get goats when we were starting all this, when we were just getting into it and buying property and trying to figure out what kind of animals we wanted to run. You know, we considered cows, and then we thought we wanted goats. And after doing a lot more research, we realized that goats are just a lot more work, and they're very, very sensitive. They really like to escape. So there's I weed whacked this trail right here,
And then they had all this in here. And look at what they did here. I mean, sheep are just awesome. We got Dorper by Katahdin sheep, and then we also have a Australian white ram. So here, they weren't on this spot here, but they were over here. So look at the difference in the grass there. And then their last big area over here, they had all this. So they had a huge area back here. And just look at this tree line. I mean, it would have looked pretty much just like that. But look what they did here. Tell me you need goats to clear some brush. I don't think so. And so here's the edge of their paddock. Woo! I think God just told me it's time to go inside and cut this video short. Anyways, the sheep are over there in some really good grass, but I'm going to go in. Wow, that was an impressive storm that we just had. That was pretty neat. We see warnings for hail all the time, but we never actually get any hail here usually, unless it's in the wintertime. But there was some actual hail with that storm. That was pretty cool. And we actually have puddles. We haven't had any puddles really since springtime. For sure, we haven't had this much rain. It rained a lot. That was awesome. And that's great because I did just mow a big section and I was hoping we'd get some rain. I always try to time it to where I'm mowing right before we get a good amount of rain, and you never know for sure if it's going to or not. But so I actually, whoa, there's a lot of mosquitoes out here. I actually mowed this, which I've been trying not to mow much of our land too short, and we don't have an adjustable mower that will adjust over 4 inches high. Ideally I'd set it for 8 inches if I was going to cut anything, but this area has so much weeds and broom sedge, stuff that the sheep aren't interested in, that I just went ahead and mowed this section, and then I just got done spreading lime out here, and then it just dumped on us. So that was awesome. It's always good when we get rain after I mow. You know, otherwise you just really see the ground get cooked, and you know, it's not doing the soil any favors. A lot of the pasture from, you know, from just being a hayfield has just gone to broom sedge for the most part, and we're working to correct some of that, which is what these sheep are all about. These sheep are putting in work to keep the grass down, to keep the weeds down, you know, so that we don't have to go and mow and mow and mow and weed whack and do all that stuff. So they're helping to keep the weeds and the brush and the grass clipped, and at the same time they're fertilizing and they're building soil. You know, they're laying carbon back down on top of the soil, and they're feeding all the life that lives in the soil. And you really can't beat that. You know, we don't have much for any inputs for the sheep. We give them minerals, we give them water, we move them often. You know, if we're not moving them every day, we're doing it every other day. It just depends. It depends on the conditions. It depends on how much food and how much manure buildup we get. It depends on how much bare ground they're leaving. This spot here is a good example of their bedding habits. They like to scratch down to the bare dirt, which is not, it's really the only thing about the sheep that could be considered a negative, I guess. And I don't know if you really would or not, but. So I set up another paddock so that these guys could hit this stuff over here. because there's some good forage still on the left side of our driveway. And then the other thing is hopefully they can help trim this mess going on here. And I can see. Just wanted to show you guys, this is a maypop passion flower, and then I can actually see some passion fruit growing back here. So there's a few of them. And then of course I got my little sidekick here. She's scratching me up, huh? Yep. Yep, she starts hoofing my shins, telling me to pet her. But I'm gonna pick these. I'm gonna take some of these. I've never tried them before, but I think I'll do a little bit more research on how they taste and if there's anything I need to watch out for, and then I might actually try them. Apparently they're really good, they're really sweet, and they're edible, so we'll be doing daily rotations now. Back to our normal routine. We don't have the thick brush and tree line that gives us about a 2-day rotation. Now we're back to just one. Literally, they've been in here just since this morning, and they've already almost pretty much taken care of this paddock. They're really starting to work on the poison ivy now, which is great. So this was their last paddock. They just moved out of here today. They had some ash there, some charcoal. But man, they cleaned this little spot out quick. Now they got that nice lush area, all that really long, super green grass. Awesome after that big rain that we just had. Our land sure looks a lot different than it did when we first got it. We've run sheep now for a year. We got our hair sheep last July, and it looks so much different than it does now. The biggest difference being just that you could almost see more dirt than grass, because of how abused the land was. And now when I look out here, it's pretty rare to see any dirt showing. Usually the only dirt that I see is wherever their last bedding area was, because they like to scratch it up. But it sure did not look like this, I tell you that. And we even had a really bad drought. Started way sooner this year. We had a really good spring, and then spring ended really fast though. And the rain just stopped, the heat cranked up, and we were just getting cooked. So we decided to be real careful and not to make sure that we didn't clip the grass too low, and that we didn't overgraze anything. And if I was going to mow anything at this point, I was going to make sure to do it right before it rained. And so we've been pretty good about that. We finally had the rain come in, and it just looks awesome out here. There's got to be something to this regenerative agriculture. You got to do what works for you though. Everybody's land is different. We've been trying to be really observant as to what our land really needs. The next thing that we know that we need to do for sure is we have some pH balancing to do. So I've worked on that already a little bit. And we're just going to buy some lime as we go and spread it out when we got time. And that should help. Not to mention the sheep are helping to correct the pH as they graze across the land too, and as we lay more carbon down. It definitely didn't look like this when we moved in here. It was almost orange. The grass was just beat. And like I said, there was more dirt showing than grass. There was just little clumps of grass. You can go back and watch some of our first videos and see what it looked like out there. It was not pretty. But this is really encouraging. This is 1 year of running sheep out here and just clipping and laying down carbon. So if we can do it, I think just about anybody can do it. They're in an excellent spot. This is probably the best forage out here. This grass is really thick. Really good stuff. It's pretty tall, especially over in here where these guys are at. Look at how tall this stuff is. And they got trees. They got some leaves down there, but look at these guys. They're in heaven right now. They're absolutely in heaven. Well, we always got to say thank you, Lord, for the rain. We always want to remain grateful. We're going to sign off. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this stuff, go ahead and subscribe.